Way off in the distance over there is the Midtown Toronto skyline, and that's centered around the intersection of Yonge and Eglinton. And I think this shopping plaza here is called Victoria Terrace. And no, you're not seeing things. That's a Toys R Us. And hey there, today is Thursday, April 3rd. It is 4:06 p.m. and the temperature is a very nice 19 degrees Celsius, and I am here in North York. But not for long. In a few minutes we'll be crossing Victoria Park Avenue and heading into Scarborough. And we'll be taking a walk through the Wexford Heights neighborhood. First I have to navigate my way down this little hill. There's a No Frills supermarket. I was just north of here making a video through Parkway Mall. I'm gonna have to keep my eye on this camera lens. At the end of that video, it fogged up quite a bit. I think there might have been some moisture or condensation in the lens from yesterday, since, believe it or not, we had a pretty good snowfall, followed by a bunch of freezing rain. It's hard to believe we're in the same season. We might get a better view of Midtown from here. So hopefully this one doesn't get spoiled by some camera hijinks. It's such a tiny viewfinder display. It might be hard for me to notice until it's too late. This is the intersection of Victoria Park and Lawrence Avenue coming up. And Wexford is a neighborhood that spans between Victoria Park Avenue here and Birchmount, which is to the east, which is on my left. And these buses will be heading south all the way down to Victoria Park Station. I think I said that in sync with the bus announcement there. Welcome once more to Scarborough, at least as soon as I can cross the street, where Stroad meets Stroad and white cube vans go speeding along. Lawrence Avenue gets interrupted by the very wealthy Bridle Path neighborhood to the west of here. And then it resumes just west of Bayview Avenue. And I think I want to be on the north side of the street here. I think it might be a little more interesting for the first few blocks at least. We got shades of summer today. It's quite nice. Honk honk go the Suburban drivers. time to go home, I'll probably be hopping on one of these buses. These 54 Lawrence East buses terminate at Eglinton Station. This is a funky looking van. Wexford Heights. Strip malls with parking in front, check. Free lanes on either side, check. We are very much walking along a suburban Stroad. Walla, halal meat. There's a lot of restaurants. Scarborough is actually quite renowned for its food. I think compared to your typical suburban area, they are extremely spoiled here. There's a Momo Boys. Turkish doner over there. I think the population of Wexford is around 18 or 19,000. Along the main strip here, there's a mix of apartment buildings and mostly low-rise commercial developments. That's mostly post-World War II bungalows in the residential sections just to the north and south of Lawrence, although it gets a bit commercial to the north and south the more east I get. Newly renovated apartments available. It's another apartment building. Close your eyes for a second. All right, the camera lens isn't fogging up yet. That can be caused when there's such a drastic change in temperatures. If there's any moisture or condensation, that'll contribute to that as well. But it's good for me that taking the bus back will just be a straight shot. Or rather, just one bus. The bus bay at Lawrence Station isn't open at the moment, so everything's terminating at Eglinton Station. This is Pharmacy coming up, a major north-south arterial in Scarborough. There's another plaza, the Timmy's and dental office on the corner. And no, you're not supposed to ride your bike on the sidewalks if you're over 14, but it's hard to blame people with streets like this. Scarborough could definitely use more cycling infrastructure. Alright, it looks like we might have a somewhat interesting plaza to walk by on the right. I'm gonna take this light and cross. Fresh Fish, Gadir Meat and Restaurant. Should be getting the light in a few seconds. Auto Tech. The most common language outside of English here is Tagalog. I think there's a large Filipino-Canadian population in this area. Shawarma Empire. Of course, Little Manila is to the west at Bathurst and Wilson. There's an annual street festival here called Taste of Lawrence. That's held between Birchmount and I think Warden, which is coming up. So I don't think this stretch covers Taste of Lawrence. I've recorded through there a few times. Wholesale and retail adult toys. There's a new one. If you ever want to be in the reselling business of those, I guess, go get them wholesale. Sell them on Facebook Marketplace. Canadian Fine Motors. That almost looks like it used to be a Tim Hortons or something. I'm sure someone will chime in on the chat and tell me what it really used to be. Gooderham Drive. I wonder if that's named after the Gooderham family, responsible for the Gooderham and Worts Distillery and the Flatiron Building downtown. Juicy Birds is quite good. This is Wexford, the street. Got to keep your head on a swivel. I didn't even think to check if someone was crossing the street. ARZ Fine Foods. It's an interesting church. Oh, look at that residential street. No sidewalks. Pedestrian hostility abounds. Imagine a street stemming off a major street like this with homes on it and there's no sidewalks. Carboys. There's one of these near Queen and Bathurst downtown. It's a traditional Pakistani restaurant. Once upon a time, I'd be able to finish this walk at Lawrence East Station and hop on the Scarborough RT, but due to years of neglect and improper maintenance, they had to shut that down. Before a replacement was in place. Scarborough has traditionally been underserved by transit. Roads like this really ought to have dedicated busways, especially since it's so wide. That's cheap and easy infrastructure to install that would get people moving through here much faster. And given how long it is between crossings, you'll have situations like this where this guy's just walking across a big Stroad. Johnny Custard Dessert Company. Oh. Next to an Iraqi charcoal grill, next to a barber shop, next to Mini Mo's Burgers and More. There's a Top Gun Burger and Steak. I think the Top Gun original location in Kensington Market recently closed down. Smash Burger, $5.99. There's a lot of great looking food options here. And coming up is Warden. That's where the street festival starts. I like this Your Lube. New Soul Acupuncture Clinic. Giant bicycle shop. You definitely get a sense for just how multicultural the city is in areas like this. Well, most areas you do, but it's really, really apparent just looking at all the businesses. Kind of crazy whenever I travel abroad and I have versions of food that I've had here. Often they're good, but I can't say it's always better overseas. I've had amazing Vietnamese noodle soup here, but I've had it over there as well. I lived in Korea for 5 years. And the best I've had here holds up to the best I had over there. And we are ridiculously spoiled in that department. There's an almost empty bus. As we walk past the Salvation Army on the right and approach Warden Avenue. So to the south of here, well to the south of here, you'll find Warden Station. There's the 54A bus. A. Most of these north-south roads through Scarborough look kind of like this. I don't know why the retail tends to be more along the east-west routes, like Lawrence and Eglinton, and the north-south ones, but that's just the way Scarborough is. I can't think of any major retail areas going north-south. Maybe parts of Kennedy up towards the 401, but it's a very small area. Faux Metro, Banh Mi Metro, Puff Chill, I have no idea. Oh, I think I figured out what that is. MPP, Scarborough Center. David Smith. Shelby's Legendary Shawarma right next to Narcos Tacos. I don't think you'd ever go hungry if you lived close to this area. So this is where the festival is held, along this stretch. There's an FD Foods. It's a Filipino bakery and restaurant. It's one of those in Little Manila. I think there were a bunch of kind of metallic dinosaur-like sculptures coming up, if memory serves me correct. On the right, suddenly that thought jumped into my head. Let's see if I'm right. There's Diana's Oyster Bar and Grill. Maybe they're no longer there, but this looks just like, oh, there they are. They're quite rusted now. Right at Crockford Boulevard. I love these signs, turning traffic must yield to pedestrians. You shouldn't have a driver's license if you need to be reminded of that, which is about half of the people in the city. All right, let's get a look-see at these dinos. Dear visitors, please use extreme caution. These figures are made from steel and have very sharp corners and edges. Please do not tamper, climb, or dismantle or move them. Please note you are fully responsible for your own actions. I wanted to do all of those things. A little bit of whimsy in what looks like an industrialized area. Oh, this one Could use a little TLC. Cool stuff. Who's ever behind this? How can you not like this sort of thing? There's a creek down below. All right, I've resisted every urge I have to touch them. I expect my finger would slice in two if I even attempted it. Back to the mission, walking through Wexford Heights. Bikes are out. There's a little cemetery across the street. I think that's Birchmount in a few blocks. And fortunately, no fog on the camera lens. That's good. Didn't waste my time coming up here. Ma Bell restaurant and baklava right next to a Swiss chalet. Home of the Burger family. I think if I get on a bus within 15 minutes, I won't have to pay a second fare. See if I can determine just when I left as we get to Underwriters Road. I used to be an underwriter in a former life. I didn't know we had our own road. I swiped off my notification. Told me when I tapped onto the TTC. Oops. Night, furniture and mattress. There's some nice outdoor decor. Big tractor tire. Master Butcher's Shop. And there's a swath of nothingness along here. But at Kennedy, there's a few big plazas. I think that's also where a Bad Boy used to be. Lastman's Bad Boy. A lower cost furniture shop that screwed over a whole lot of people when they went out of business. People have placed orders, they took their money and then never got their stuff. Here's Birchmount, another one of these dime a dozen north-south arterials here that all look just like this. There's a plaza. I have an idea. Let's check out a little bit of the residential area. I could keep going to Kennedy, but I'm going to loop back to this bus stop here, I think. I'm just going to make this next part up as I go. I remember walking down Birchmount once from Ellesmere. I think that was during a live stream. This has been a failed development for quite a while. The borough. So I think I can make a right at this residential street and I'll show you what some of those post-World War II bungalows look like. So people lost a lot of money on this project. And hopefully I don't miss a bus in the process. Development plan, a 21733 story buildings and some townhomes. All right, Dulverton Road. There you go, a little taste of this area, although we're no longer in Wexford. I believe this area is called McGregor Park. Most of the residential areas look just like this. Cute little bungalows, wide streets. Some semblance of a street grid. owntheborough.com. I think I can cut through this housing complex here. Back to Lawrence. Wait for this vehicle to pass. Obviously, they have this communal parking lot. So you live in one of these units. I don't think this is community housing. This area could certainly use some TLC. Building B. Please tap the salt and snow off your shoes before entering. If I'm ever entering there, I will remember to do so. Here's the part where I look to my left and see a bus and start sprinting. There is a bus stop to my left, but I do not want that one because there's a chance I could catch an express bus. I do not see a bus on the horizon. But I hope you enjoyed this stroll through Wexford Heights along Lawrence Avenue. Do let me know your thoughts and comments down below. I always look forward to reading them. If you wish to support what I do on YouTube, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I've got an Instagram account, which I sometimes update at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button down below if you wish to say thanks that way. And it looks like it's the same group of people waiting for the bus. That we walked by earlier, so that little residential detour was not something that was going to delay me. I do not see another bus coming. Oh well, thank you again so much for watching. Oh no, there's a little bit of fog on the lens creeping in, but hopefully that was not enough to obscure anything on this video. I guess I'll find out when I get home, but thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.